Monsieur les préfets,
Ministers,
Madame la maire, Madame
prefects,
la présidente,
Mayor,
Monseigneur Ulrich, Monseigneur Rubado Dumois, Monseigneur Chauvet,
Your
Messeigneurs,
Excellencies, the Cardinals,
Mesdames et Messieurs, en
ladies
vos grades et
and
qualités, Monsieur le Président de
gentlemen,
l'établissement public,
heads
bâtir
of
Notre-Dame, Mesdames, Messieurs,
these
chers
projects,
compagnons et chers amis.
dear artisans and companions,
Je suis très
dear
heureux
friends,
d'être
I'm
parmi vous.
very
Merci d'être
happy
là
to
aussi,
be
Monsieur le maire.
here among you today.
C'est pour nous
Thank you.
tous, je crois pouvoir le dire, une immense
And I think
émotion
that
d'être
for all of us, it
de nous
is a
retrouver
huge emotion to be able to meet
même
again in this
dans
place,
notre cathédrale,
in this place which is our
quelques jours
cathedral,
avant le 7
and to be able to meet
décembre,
here a
Monseigneur.
few days before the 7th and 8th of December,
La nef abritait un véritable champ de ruines.
in a place where 5 years ago was just a field of ruins. So we all remember the lead that fell to the ground,
La France
to this
avait vécu,
open
ce que les Parisiennes et les
tragedy
Parisiens avaient vécu, ce
that
que
all
les
French
catholiques et de
people
France, du monde entier avaient vécu.
endured, that all Parisians lived through, or that all Catholics around the world. The whole planet was shaken on
Le choc
that
de la
sad day in
réouverture
April.
sera, je crois, et je veux le croire, aussi fort que celui
The
de l'incendie. Mais ce sera un
Shock
choc
of
d'espérance.
reopening the cathedral will be, I hope, as strong as
Toutes
that
et tous qui
that
êtes là
happened
aujourd'hui
in April,
avec
but it will
vrai.
be a shock of hope.
Et cette métamorphose, c'est en effet à vous
This
que nous
will
la
be
devons.
a metamorphosis that we owe to each and every
Vous
one
avez
of
été
you
les
here.
alchimistes du chantier
You are the alchemists
et vous
of
avez
this project,
transformé
and
le
you
charbon en
transformed
art, si je puis dire.
coal into artistry,
Le
if I
brasier de
may say
Notre-Dame
so.
était une blessure nationale et
The
vous avez été
furnace
son
of
remède.
Notre-Dame was a
Par la volonté,
national scar, and
par le
you were
travail,
its
par l'engagement.
healing balm, thanks to your work
Je
and
veux
your
ici
commitment.
remercier chacune et chacun.
I'd like to thank each and every one of you.
Remercier
I'd
d'abord
like to,
nos
first of
sapeurs-pompiers
all,
de Paris pour leur
thank
courage.
the firefighters
Ils
of
se sont
Paris for their
jetés dans un
courage.
brasier
They
titanesque,
threw themselves into a
comme on invente à peine
huge
dans les
furnace, which is
Et
something
ils nous
that
ont
is
donné
only the
cette
stuff
nuit
of
un
nightmares.
exemple
And they set an
grandeur, de
example. They
courage, de
showed an
sacrifice.
example of
Et
courage
je crois qu'on est
and
plusieurs à se souvenir
self-sacrifice.
ici,
And I think many of
les-
us here
le commandement général Gallet du courage de nos
remember
sapeurs-pompiers,
this
les plus
courage
jeunes
of
parcourant,
our
prenant le risque,
firefighters,
décidant
the
de la part du
youngest of
feu,
whom
malheureusement,
would
mais
run
préservant
into the
notre
fire
cathédrale, qu'ils en soient
and
infiniment
help save
remerciés.
our dear
Ils ont
cathedral.
commencé à la bâtir dès ce jour-là,
And
dès cette
they
minute.
were the first who
Et puis, il y a eu
started
cet
the
immense
work
élan
of
de
rebuilding it
solidarité
in
qui
a
a
certain
traversé le monde
sense.
entier
And then we
à
had
travers
this gesture
150
of
pays.
solidarity that
340
went
000
all over the
mécènes et
world.
donateurs.
350
340 000,
million
plusieurs sont ici
philanthropists
présents, en
and
particulier
donors,
en
some of
entreprise,
whom
et
are
je veux vous en
present here
remercier
today, people,
avec, beaucoup de
individuals
chaleur.
and companies whom I'd like to extend
Et
my
c'est votre
heartfelt
générosité
gratitude
qui a
to.
permis,
And
en
it is
effet, de
your
reconstruire
generosity
Notre-Dame du
that
monde
allowed
entier.
us to
Des familles
rebuild
françaises, des
Notre-Dame.
entrepreneurs,
French families,
premier euro à des centaines de
entrepreneurs,
millions d'euros.
people who donated from €1 to hundreds
êtes
of millions of
mobilisés.
euros. You all
Et je reconnais ici
mobilized.
beaucoup de visages qui sont à nos côtés
And I
aujourd'hui
recognize
pour
many
redire votre amour de
faces
Notre-Dame, ce qu'elle
here.
représente pour le pays,
And
ce
I'd
qu'elle a
like
d'universel
to
pour la nation, et je veux très
thank you
sincèrement vous en remercier.
for what you have done.
Montrant que Notre-Dame est l'âme de notre
You have
pays,
shown
qu'elle
that
appartient aux
Notre-Dame
chrétiens, mais
is
aussi à tous les
part
Français,
of
qu'elle
our
appartient à la France,
country,
au
that
fond,
it
au
belongs
monde
to all
entier.
Christians,
Elle
it
est
belongs
plus
to
grande que nous.
France and to the whole world. It is
La
something that
fondation Notre-Dame,
surpasses us. It's
la
bigger
fondation
than
du
us.
patrimoine,
The foundation of Notre-Dame, the
Fondation de
foundation
France,
of our heritage,
Centre
the
des
Fondation de
Monuments
France, the
Nationaux
Centre of
ont su
National
collecter ces dons,
Monuments
et je les en remercie
managed
très
to
sincèrement.
collect these donations, and I thank
Pour que pas
them
un centime ne
very
soit perdu, que tout
sincerely,
aille à l'établissement public rebâtir
and
Notre-Dame,
so that we didn't
pour
lose
les
a
travaux achevés
single
comme pour tous ceux qui se
centime.
poursuivront après 2025. Et je veux remercier le
We
professionnalisme de toute
managed
cette équipe.
to do this with professionalism.
Vous
I'd like to
avez été
thank every team
l'antidote
that
à l'abattement
worked
par
on
l'énergie
this.
avec laquelle vous vous êtes
You
attaqué au chantier, par l'enthousiasme
did
avec
all
lequel
this
vous
work
avez
with
répondu à
energy
ce
and
défi.
enthusiasm. You answered the
Oui,
call
en
of this
avril
challenge. It is
2019,
true
nous
that
avons
in
décidé
April
que cela
2019,
prendrait 5
we
ans.
I had
Alors c'est vrai,
asked for it to
parfois,
take 5 years. I had wished for it to take 5
nous a
years to
beaucoup dit au
rebuild
début que
it.
ce ne serait pas
And
possible.
many told us at the beginning that this would not
c'était fou,
be
c'était
possible,
arbitraire,
that
qu'on
it
allait
was
mal
a
faire.
crazy idea, that we'd not
Mais,
manage to do
au
this
fond, derrière cet
well.
objectif simple,
But
il y a eu
behind
une
this
agrégation
simple
de toutes les
goal,
volontés.
there was a coming together
Et vous
of
l'avez fait.
many people's wills.
Vous avez
And this
réussi
is
ce qu'on
something
pensait
that you
impossible.
managed to do. You
Alors,
met
il y a
the challenge
eu
and you
d'abord
did what
l'établissement
was
public et
thought
ses équipes.
impossible. There was, of
Et au
course,
moment où
the
je vous parle,
public institutions and their
évidemment,
teams.
il y avait une personnalité forte,
And there was also
un chef,
a
et ce
leader,
fut le général Georges Lain.
General Georges Lain.
Et pour nous tous, de
And
2019 à
from
2023, il a été le
2019
visage
till
et la voix
2023,
des
he was the face and voice of this
Et
project.
je pense tout particulièrement, et c'est à lui que je voudrais dédier ce moment,
And
si vous me
I'd really
l'autorisez, à
like
vos
to
côtés.
dedicate a moment to him, if you
Parce qu'il
allow
aurait
me
dû être
to,
avec
because
nous.
he should have been here with us today.
Je crois qu'il aurait été fier et heureux.
And I think he would have been
Qu'il
proud
vous aurait
of you all.
chacun salué par votre nom, votre prénom,
I
comme à
think
son
he would
habitude.
have called you
avec,
all by your name, as was his
Cette voix de
custom,
stentor.
with his strong voice.
Mais l'établissement public Rebâtir Notre-Dame de Paris a serré les rangs dans son entier.
But we
afin de
managed
l'été
to draw in our
2023 sous la
ranks in
houlette de Philippe
order
Jost. Je
to
veux
continue work
le
under
remercier
Philippe
très
Jousset
sincèrement.
in 2023, and I'd
Vous
also
pouvez
like to
être
thank him.
extrêmement
You
fiers
can
du
also
travail
be
que vous
very
avez fait,
proud
toutes
of
les
the
équipes
work that you
de l'établissement
did
public.
here, and of
Et
all
vous
the
avez été
teams
à la
working
hauteur
for
de la mémoire
the
du
different
général.
national institutions. And I think
Merci
you
à tous.
really
Vous pouvez être fiers d'une maîtrise
would have made
d'ouvrage
the general
unique.
proud. You
Et puis il y a une maîtrise d'œuvre extraordinaire
managed to fulfill
avec
an
nos
amazing
architectes,
project
nos
under
historiques,
different
les équipes, évidemment
architects,
Philippe Villeneuve,
different teams under Philippe Villeneuve.
là dès avant le premier jour et qui continuera de l'être après, qu'il y a cette cathédrale dans la peau, si je puis m'exprimer ainsi.
I think this cathedral
Et
runs
avec
through his
Rémi Fourmont,
veins.
Pascal Prunet,
There's
toutes
also
leurs
Rémi
équipes, là
Vaumont
aussi,
and Pascal
les
Prunet
bureaux
and their
d'études, les
teams, the
architectes, les
different
ingénieurs, les laboratoires. Vous
engineers,
avez
the
mené
different
un
project
travail
labs.
remarquable.
You all carried out
Il est dit,
remarkable
je vous remercier très sincèrement
work.
pour
And
votre engagement, la
I'd like
passion
to
avec
very
laquelle
sincerely
vous
thank
accueillez
you for
chacun,
the
avec laquelle vous avez mené
commitment
ces
with which you
travaux
carried
jour et
out
nuit durant
all of
cette
this
période.
work for long
Soyez-en
days
infiniment
and
remerciés.
nights during the past years.
La ville de Paris,
The city of
Madame la maire,
Paris,
le maire qui est là,
Madame
et
Maire,
toutes les équipes avec lesquelles
and
la
all your
coordination a été
teams,
extraordinaire pour les travaux au jour le jour,
thanks
y
to
compris pour les
whose
abords, on l'a vu tout à l'heure
amazing
avec
coordination
Basnet,
this work
la
could be
préfecture
carried
de
out.
police,
I'd also like to thank
qui a fait un
the
travail
Paris
remarquable
Police
jusqu'à ces dernières
Prefecture,
heures pour autoriser
which
la
managed to
réouverture et les tests de sécurité,
work
avec
day
là
and
aussi
night, carry
un
out
travail
security
invisible, mais
tests to
immense, qui a
make
été
sure that
fait.
the cathedral
La
could open up
préfecture
on time,
d'Île-de-France,
the
le
prefecture
préfet de
of the
région, soyez
Ile-de-France, Greater
qui
Paris
n'a
area,
pas ménagé ses efforts
that
pour
also
solutionner
spared
tous les problèmes
no efforts
réglementaires,
to
le
be able
plomb
to
et tant
find
d'autres, quand
practical
ils sont apparus.
solutions to
Évidemment, le
various
ministère de la
issues.
Culture,
Of course,
Madame la Ministre,
thank the Ministry of
la
Culture,
DRAC d'Île-de-France et beaucoup de vos services qui ont été d'une efficacité remarquable.
the different services
Le
of the
ministère a eu la
Ile-de-France
lourde
region.
charge, entre autres, de
The
restaurer
ministry
les tableaux, les objets
had the
d'art du
difficult
Trésor,
task to
d'assurer le
restore
contrôle scientifique et
national
technique des travaux
treasures,
et des fouilles par le biais
paintings,
de la DRAC.
works
Et
of
ça a été une
art,
mobilisation de chaque instant
and
de
this allowed
toutes les équipes
and depended
du
on the
ministère de la
mobilization
Culture
of
qui ont
so many
contribué, je souhaite
teams
aussi les
from the
remercier.
Ministry of Culture, and I'd like
Et
to
puis,
thank those
beaucoup de
teams.
ministères qui ont
And so there were
contribué
many, also
dans leur
other many
compétence à ce
ministries
chantier.
that contributed
Et puis,
to this
Monseigneur,
project.
les équipes du diocèse
And
de
Your
Paris et de la
Excellency,
cathédrale
Bishop,
été extraordinaires.
your teams from
Je
the
voudrais
Paris Diocese were
même,
also
Monseigneur, vous
amazing,
remercier
and I'd like to
évidemment pour la
thank
coopération
you for the
extraordinaire,
cooperation, the
artistes que vous avez
extraordinary
On
cooperation,
l'a vu tout à l'heure
for the
avec
artists
le
that you
travail
chose to carry out
Monsieur
this
Bardet,
work. We
Monsieur
saw
Dubuisson.
thus earlier with the
Mais
work of Monsieur
le travail
Bardet
de
and
tous les
Monsieur
artistes,
Dubuisson.
ces ateliers
But
d'art, les
the work of all these
éclairagistes,
artists,
les
the
designers, les
work of the
ingénieurs du son,
designers,
le
of
nouvel
sound
aménagement
engineers,
liturgique et l'accueil des fidèles et des visiteurs.
the people
Il y a eu un
who
travail
designed the new
artistique,
visitors
collectif, une
welcoming
ingénierie là aussi que vous avez
center,
su faire,
and
et cette
all this
coopération fructueuse doit
artistic
beaucoup à l'esprit
design
de
and
dialogue
this very fruitful
qui a d'abord été
cooperation, which
impulsé par
was
Monseigneur Aupetit et
the
Monseigneur
product of
Chauvet,
a dialogue between
puis par évidemment Monseigneur
under the impulse of
Ulrich et Monseigneur
Monseigneur
Ribadeau-Dumas.
Badeau-Dumas,
Soyez-en
Ulrich,
infiniment remerciés.
among others, and I am infinitely grateful to you all and to all your
Nous
teams.
savons, vous toutes et tous qui êtes là, tout ce que nous
All
vous
of
devons.
you who are gathered here
2000
today
femmes et
are
hommes
aware of what we
qui ont
owe to
passé
you.
leurs
There
jours
are
et leurs nuits
2,000 men and women who spent their days and nights
Et vous
on
avez
this
fait de ce
project,
défi
and you
une
turned
réalité.
this
Vous
challenge
avez repris une
into
chaîne
a
des temps qui vous
reality.
précédait de plus de 8
You
siècles.
followed a tradition that went back more than 800 years, the tradition of the guilds of the Middle Ages, of those compagnons who went beyond themselves for something that was bigger. And so you managed to keep this tradition and this hope alive. You managed to prolong this tradition, and each and every one of you is a a part of this collective chain. You allowed us to rediscover the fact that this cathedral was already a treasure made of men and women who sometimes sacrificed their lives for it, and you are now part of that history. And no one can ever take this away from you. You have made this project a metaphor of our country, of our nation, that each man and woman is necessary. And each and every one of you played your role. You placed a stone, you carried out a task without which the totality of what we have achieved here would not have been possible. Each of you, according to your various talents, those who organized, those who planned, those who coordinated, those who secured and protected the project, those who assured the smooth running of logistics, all of you were indispensable, because this was a choreography that no one from outside would know that you were doing this, but no second was lost. Those who are in charge of the installations, of the scaffoldings, the crane operators, the collective restoration specialists, the fire security specialists, the storage experts. Thanks to all of you, this place became a true village. And people would meet and talk and chat in a sort of family, a family that came to be during these last 5 years. And during all this time, there was this acrobatic show above us of people working on the restoration, the largest scaffolding in Europe, the largest project, a sort of chrysalis out of which our new spire came back to life. Let's not forget the electricians, the energy specialists, the lighting specialists. You brought blood back into this building, and you gave new life to it. Then there is, of course, wood, metal, and stone. Thank you all for bringing our forest, our timber roof framework back to life. This wood that came from all our regions, north, south, east, west, thanks to many philanthropists, 2,000 oak trees went through the hands of our woodworkers. And thank you for the Forest of France for being here today and allowing us to rebuild our cathedral. So 2,000 oaks with carpenters and roofers and woodcutters who rediscovered certain forms of workmanship that the 20th century had forgotten. We recreated tools, ancient tools that are true products of human excellence, specialists in marquetry. We were earlier lost in this forest, up in those timber structures that allowed us to place our spire on top of our cathedral once again. Thank you to everyone who restored and shaped metal in all its facets. Founders, the polishers, all the different metal workers. Thank you for the art. Thank you to the artisans of stone. Thank you to all the people who allow us to rediscover this fresh stone, this stone that we had never seen in such a light. Thank you to masons, to the stone counters, to the sculptors, the restorers of the statues, the people who brought back the newness of the stone, who brought back the grimaces of these gargoyles who are more scary today than they ever have been before. And thank you for those who cut out these stones from the quarries of Picardy and elsewhere. Thank you to those who restored the artwork, who brought back the colors of the different paintings. Thank you to the masters, glass workers who managed to preserve the incredible colors of the stained glass windows. Thank you to the restorers of the pipe organs who have given the voice back to our cathedral, and we will soon hear this voice ring out loud again on the 7th of December. And I'm not forgetting all the archaeologists supported by the National Institute of Archaeology, all these archaeologists who managed to go into the history of this building to discover new hidden treasures. Thank you to the researchers, to the members of the CNRS, to all the partner institutes, and thank you to all those whose names I can't list today, but who are part of this collective action. We had never seen such a project before. You, each and every one of you, took part in this once-in-a-lifetime project. And it showcased the goodwill of each of us, even in such difficult conditions and in such a short time. But during these 5 years, Notre-Dame was a project of what had never been seen before. 250 companies worked here together. Small companies, medium companies, large conglomerates, and you sometimes you abolished the differences you had, the competition between your companies, in order to work together to rebuild our cathedral. There was this imperative of durability, and you managed to make the exceptional your quotidian, and I'd like to thank you for this. You made all of France into a project, because even though there are the people gathered here today, but I'm not forgetting the people working in different factories and workshops all around France. There are workers who contributed to this project. There was a spirit of unique, singular brotherhood and fraternity, and this is something that I'd like to see live on, because it is what binds us together. You have been a large family for the last 5 years, with moments of joy and pride and moments of sadness too. I mentioned it earlier with the passing of the general, and someone else I'm not forgetting, which is Hazin Edna, who worked on the scaffolding of Notre-Dame and who got along so well with the general. You showed the world that nothing can stand in the way of your willpower and your audacity and your hope. You showed us that we should raise our eyes to see the spire of Notre-Dame and to rediscover our cathedral from inside. And our nation's recognition towards you is great. You will receive a special diploma from the ministry, each and every one of you, each person who worked on this project. Today is a moving day for us. Your Excellency, the Bishop, we will now give you back your cathedral, to which you will be able to welcome the faithful in the world and the whole world. And for me, it's the last visit of this work site. And for these years to come, never forget that you repaired, that you contributed to the reinvention of something, that you loved this place, and that you rebuilt it. Never forget that during these 5 past years, you shared, all of you together, the most beautiful work site of this century. And I'm also not forgetting your families, whom I'd also like to thank, because I know that they sacrificed you for these 5 years, that you managed to rebuild this cathedral in 5 years. And this is great pride for our entire nation. I am infinitely grateful to you. France is infinitely grateful to you for this. You rebuilt our cathedral in 5 years. And this is something we owe to you. So thank you.